This is a tutorial or a microlecture on how to write valid test items that teach and test. My friend John Upshur called them games that students can play and win. Test items are just questions about some text, meaningful activity, or a discourse. Putting the punchline up front, the bottom line, the takeaway message for the many online teacher testers that are struggling with this problem right now, it's okay to teach to the test provided you ask good test questions that can be answered definitively in the source materials you're using. The trick, as John Upshur used to say, is to find games the students can play and win. What I want to do in this tutorial, microlecture, demonstration, whatever you like to call it, is to show you how to construct really excellent test items in both a multiple choice and an open-ended format. Also how you can go and find some source of content that is a good one. Make sure it's intelligible, an activity or a conversation that's relevant to what you want to teach your students, something they're interested in, something you're interested in, an example source, and some multiple choice and open-ended test questions follow. In the text, you will see hyperlinks to multiple choice questions in blue, hyperlinks to open-ended questions in green. The sample questions appear on the slide following in the sample text. What makes this questioning technique powerful is that it can be applied to any meaningful discursive source. The text can be easy or challenging. It can be an activity or a process or a discourse, a conversation, a lecture, a news report, an experiment, whatever. A key innovation of the teaching and testing that I illustrate in this tutorial is what I call loopy links. When you click a link, it takes you to a question about the content in the source, and the question contains a link that loops right back to where you were working in the source. Those loopy linked questions then can serve as the test item bank for whatever exams we want to give during the course. We can also ask students to comment on the questions or their answers in a way that allows us to do interview-type lamination, asking a student, for instance, what did you mean when you wrote this in that open-ended question? Or why did you choose this particular choice in that multiple choice question? Here you see the source text, multiple choice in blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and 2 questions in green that are open-ended questions. We always find that open-ended questions take longer to score, so I ask fewer of them than I ask of the multiple choice type. Here are the 5 multiple choice questions, and here are the 2 open-ended questions for the sample text. If I go into the text and hover over a link, you see the hyperlink pop up from Microsoft Word, hashtag MC underline baseline. And that hashtag is supplied by Microsoft. The MC points to the multiple choice questions, and baseline is just a keyword to help me to be able to remember this link. If we click on one of these links, let's take this first, it'll take us to the questions. We have a text here that is hyperlinked back to the text, and we can loop back and forth between those positions. So this hyperlink points to the question points back to the text. This one also has an underlying bookmark, which we can see if I highlight this hyperlink and then look to bookmark, we find that this part of the multiple choice question is bookmarked as MC underline baseline. MC multiple choice and baseline, the mnemonic telling us where that element falls in the text. Another feature of Microsoft that I take advantage of is the capacity to save the text with answers actually displayed. And here are some comments. So in multiple choice question number 1, turns out the answer is E, and the page reference in my book is page 16. Each one of the questions has an answer associated with it in case the student wants to check that. Now I can also save those answers in a PDF file by going to File, Save As, and selecting a PDF file. Then under More Options, I select the choice of Document Showing Markups if I want the answers to show, and if I want the answers not to show, I just click Document. In both cases, I want the word bookmarks, which enable the loopy links to actually function. Here is what the source text looks like in a PDF format with no answers showing. Then here are the same questions with the answers displayed. Solomon wrote in Proverbs 27:2, "Let another man praise thee, and not thine own mouth, a stranger, and not thine own." That said, the people who are professionals in distance learning have made whole videos to encourage everyone on the faculty at my university to take the trouble to introduce themselves in their microlectures to be posted online. Perhaps I can finesse the deal by taking Solomon's advice and referring to comments that are coming from other people and not from me. According to ResearchGate, I was the most read professor at my institution. That's my whole university, or at least all the people that are on ResearchGate. On March 29, 2020, the first week of the COVID virus outbreak, and then on April 5th, I was the most read person in my department. Somebody must have published something that really got a lot of attention during that week. But these are both within the last 2 weeks. Google Scholar has also been good to me in ranking me, according to one of my math colleagues, as the third most cited professor at my institution, behind a couple of very distinguished biologists, Dr. Daniel Pavanelli, Dr. Joseph Nagel, and just ahead of one of my wonderful colleagues, Dr. Vijay Raghavan. 8 of my books and half of my 300-plus articles are about measurement and testing. I've got a theoretical paper in the Journal of Quantitative Linguistics with Chen Liang on episodic organization and discourse and valid measurement in the sciences. The editor described it as a foundational paper. Current research is extended into biosemiotics and the etiology of disorders, diseases, and deaths, from superficial damage to the invasion of the nucleosome, ranking of morbidities by the biosemiotic depth hypothesis in the International Journal of Sciences. That one also is available online, particularly relevant today given the present crisis with COVID-19. Illustrating and putting into practice what I have to say is my book, 2020 third edition, Human Anatomy and Physiology for Speech Language Pathologists and Audiologists, published in Austin, Texas by Sancha Publishing. 596 pages worth, 714 multiple choice questions, 439 open-ended questions. All of them are hyperlinked back to the text in a chronological order. One last thing to point out, I've got my hyperlinked list of publications. That is, at least most of the publications, most of the titles are hyperlinked to a full text source. And here's the URL for that material. I hope this microlecture has been useful. Thank you.